Hello, it's Amy Williams here with the You Perform channel, and we've got Arron here, our You Perform fitness expert. Now, last week with Arron, we were talking about cardio versus weights and which one you do first. Today, we're talking about very common myths. What you get asked like on a common day, daily basis in your gym. And we're going to start off with fat spots. Can I suddenly do certain exercises that target certain areas of my body?
I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately you can't. You can't just choose an area and do a load of sit-ups, for example, and expect that to make your tummy flatter or to reduce fat through that area. Sadly not, but a lot of people think they can. And I think a lot of people out on social media try to convince people that that's also possible as well. So there's a lot of programs you can see out there where people are saying you can just get this shape on just your buttocks by doing these exercises, and you can create fat loss on your arms just by doing this. It's not that easy, not that simple. Our body is a whole, so we've got to treat it like a whole, right? We've got to work every muscle in the body in a multitude of different ways to have the best chance of reducing fat from everywhere as evenly as possible. And so, you can't keep weight on certain areas and remove it from others as well. That's one thing that a lot of my clients come to me. They say, well, I want to keep all this fat on my bum or on my chest, but I want to lose it from my middle. Is that possible? And sadly, it isn't. So we can't get those results, unfortunately.
And I guess I'm just sort of like thinking in my own head here, everyone has a different body shape. We've got our tall, thin, lanky, your pear shape. That would be another myth, I guess, is there certain types of training for specific body shapes?
There can be, and I'm going to leave this one open a little bit, there can be certain ones that might be more beneficial to you if you're holding a certain shape, but I think we need to embrace the shape that we are and use that to our advantage when we're doing training, right? Instead of to make too many physique changes and working too hard at that, think about kind of how you're feeling, where your energy is, and all those kind of things. And then hopefully your physique will change over time to match that. But, we can't be too obsessed with how we look. It's more about how we're performing and how we're feeling that I like to take the advantage of first. And then hopefully the shape changes will happen over time.
So off the back of kind of talking about the body shape and sizes, a lot of women, another kind of myth is they're going to pick up the weights in the gym, lift heavy, and suddenly turn into the Hulk. This, I'm guessing, is not particularly true.
Well, you'll know that it's not particularly true as well from all the training that you've done. But yeah, women generally are quite scared of lifting weights because they feel like they are going to bulk or put a lot of muscle mass on. The reality of that is it's very, very difficult to put muscle mass on for women, especially because they don't have as high testosterone levels as men. And you'd have to be lifting 5-6 days a week minimum, 7 or 8 months on a long-term program to start to see some big changes in the muscle shape of your body and terms of size. And so, as you'll know, it's not as easy as people think. After a couple of weeks of lifting weights, you might notice that you've got a bit more shape to the body, a bit more definition if you like, but not necessarily muscle size. And as you start to lose body fat from hopefully lifting weights as well, you become more defined. So it makes you maybe look a bit more muscly, whereas you haven't actually put any physical size at that point really. You've just made it a little bit more defined because the fat around the muscle's gone. So, you're obviously training 7 days a week probably at times, and certain types of power lifts and things. And that took you a long time to put on any size and gains in muscle mass, right?
Oh yeah, as an athlete, we were in the gym. 6 days a week, lifting, several hours and lifting very heavy, doing all your Olympic lifts, all your big, huge compound movements. And yeah, it took years to put on proper muscle. And yes, I was quite bulky and big at times, but on the flip side, I was still a size, 8 to 10 dress size. So minimal body fat, very, very low percentage. So I clearly looked more muscular and big, but actually in the big scheme of it, I still wasn't the Hulk. So yeah, it does go to show, doesn't it, the differences.
Yeah, and I think out there there's a lot of people that women can see out there who are lifting weights, who are looking quite big, but they have been doing that for a long period of time, and it doesn't happen to the average. And You also have to get the nutrition on point to support that muscle growth. I mean, your nutrition at that point must have been really on point. You're a nutritionist, I'm sure, you're working with to get you all the gains that you needed to perform.
Yeah, we were eating 5-6 times a day, certain amount of proteins in every single meal. It was a lot of eating all the time. And actually, one of the best things about not being an athlete anymore was you didn't have to shovel that food in as much. And now it's great because you've got different protein shakes and different formulations that you can take to mean that you're not physically having to sit at the dinner table constantly. But you're right, nutrition's a massive part that then helps you build that muscle.
Yeah, so I think for the average person, really they're not going to get anywhere near the shape gains or the muscle gains that they think they're going to get by lifting a few weights, especially if they're going to a gym or doing some gym classes where they might be lifting some weights that are fairly heavy for them, but it's not going to be pushing them to their extremes of what they can lift in terms of pure strength training or power training that they would need to get that change in muscular shape, I think.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking now, you saying that, a lot of women, I think then potentially, if they are lifting weights, they're then too scared to eat lots of food afterwards because straight away it's like, oh, well, I better not eat the food because I don't want to put that muscle on. So you could actually almost have that very imbalance of going to the gym, lifting lots of heavy weights, but oh no, I don't want to put the weight on and the bulk, so therefore I'm not going to eat, and therefore you're not going to recover and have that nutrition and that energy afterwards.
Which is a problem all in itself because it's that recovery, the repair. If you're breaking down your muscle tissue, you need the right nutrition to support that being repaired, not necessarily built, which is the important part of that.
So another myth is that HIIT training burns more fat than list training. I mean, starters, what is HIIT and what is list training?
Well, that would help to know those bits, wouldn't it?
Yes.
HIIT training has been really popularised in the last few years. A lot of programs use it, a lot of online programs use it, a lot of gyms are using it to help people burn fat and improve their cardiovascular fitness. And HIIT training is high intensity interval training. So effectively you work as high intensity as possible for a very short burst, have a little rest, and then repeat that for a number of sets. So for example, you'd work hard for 20 seconds, 10 seconds rest, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest, and you repeat that. Whereas list training is low intensity, steady state training. So you might go for 45 to 60 minutes at one pace, keeping your heart rate at a set rate, which would be kind of the fat burning zone, right? So with that, it depends what your goals are and what you're doing around those programs as to which one you would use. So HIIT training is great because it does burn a lot of calories at the time and can be great for burning fat. But the problem with that is it's quite high intensity, therefore it fatigues the body quite a lot. So if the next day you were then doing a heavy weights training session or a long cardio session and going for some PBs and things, you might be hindering that performance. Therefore, it might be ruining your overall gains you might want to be getting with those results. The long, steady stuff might be more effective for someone who's looking to have a recovery and repair session at the same time as burning some calories.
Okay, and I guess it's just figuring out what you want to achieve, what your goals are. Would you say that someone could mix that up then, just depending on what day and how their program is?
I think it's a good idea to have a variance of it in your weekly training program. If you've had a really tough day on one day lifting weights or doing some hard HIIT training, you might want to have that low steady state training the next day just to help recover and repair and still get some results in terms of fat burning. So you've got to mix and match, and depending on what you've been doing the day before or what you're doing the next day, you wouldn't want to do a HIIT session the day before you're going to create a PB in some weights, for example, because you're going to just be tired from that.
So Arron, we've just covered 3 big major myths. Is there anything else on a regular basis in the gym that you get asked?
I get asked a lot of some of those stupid questions. I won't bring them all up now. Maybe we will visit those at a later date. But one people always ask me is can they get away with just training once a week and getting results? And I think they all know the answer to that one most of the time. And unfortunately, again, the answer is no. It depends what your results are though. If you want to see results in body shape change, if you dramatically change your nutrition, then yes, you could probably get some great results. But if you want to improve your fitness, really change your physique, improve your mental, physical, emotional well-being, you've got to make it a regular practice. I would say minimum 3 times a week, and it doesn't have to be an hour at a time, 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times a week is a minimum. And you can get some amazing results. You're going to feel better, you're going to look better, be more confident, and then the results will keep coming from there.
It's been really interesting hearing our myths and what's true and not true from you. What have we got next week coming up?
So next week we're talking about the benefits of running.
Okay, all right. If you want to listen to that, then please ring the bell, hit subscribe, and we will see you then. Thank you, Arron, for today. See you next week.